30.
All right. Now listen up. Okay, so this is 4.2. This is actually talking about the different type of transformations of the graph, or translations of the graph. So this is a vertical translation. Now, if you notice, look at where my vertical translation is. Now, if you notice, it is my function right here, plus 3. So that one's going up. This is my function, minus 5.
Oh.
So it is outside of the sine, cosine, tangent, secant, cosecant, cotangent. It's outside of that. So that's going to be my shift all the way up. It's usually going to be either in the front or it's going to be behind. Okay? So if you notice there's no variable with it, it's just, it is what it is. So that goes when I actually do my, let's say step, was it 4 and 5 or something like that, where you do vertical shift and phase shift? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, that's what we're going to do. But it says over 2 periods. Are we going to do this over 2 periods? No. We're going to do it over 1. Okay, so step 1. Thank you.
8 p.m. Oh, 8 m.p.
What is my amplitude for this problem? Go ahead.
Wait, is it 3 minus 2 or is it 3?
Nope.
Dash 2. It's 1.
It's 3.
Negative 2. Okay,
wait, how?
It could be just 2. Listen, it could be just 2, or I could say negative 2 because it also gives me direction. But
Wait,
it's the number in front of the sine, cosine, tangent, all that.
So it's not an equation?
No, this
That's the
is the what?
shift.
Which type?
For phase shift.
Try again.
The parallel shift.
Okay, I know you were paying attention, not on your phone at this current moment right here when we're talking about this. The vertical.
Shut up for a minute.
Okay, vertical. Okay, so my amplitude here is going to be 2 or negative 2. So I'm going to say negative 2 here.
Negative 2.
Okay, what's the next thing?
Find the period.
Find the period.
Now, for this one right here, do I have an argument for this one?
No, it's 2 pi over 3.
I do not have an argument, right? Because it just says 3x here, right?
Yeah.
I don't have that parentheses where it says plus or minus something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is going to be starting off, cosine is 2 pi equals 3x, right?
Yes, you have to get the x by itself.
And then you
So
divide
divide 3 on both sides. So it's 2 pi over 3. Oh my gosh, yes.
So much, I already said that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're a little late.
Okay, step 3,
Parts.
Hard.
parts. So since I said 1 period, so it's parts. So my parts are going to go 0, quarter,
1.
half,
1.
3/4, and 1. What's wrong with this guy today? Alright, so before I get into that, what else do I have to identify?
That one thing, the shift.
Phase shift.
Yeah, phase shift.
So that's phase shift, so PS. My phase shift is what?
3.
Nope.
No, it's 2.
Nope.
It's opposite.
It's 3. It's
Does this have an
negative
argument?
3.
No, it's 0.
It doesn't have an argument. It doesn't have an argument. Remember the argument would be like,
parentheses.
yeah, would like B parentheses X plus C, something like that.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, something like that. And that'd be cosine. So it would be written like this. So this doesn't have an argument because it doesn't have this right here, right?
Right.
So that means there is no phase shift on this one. So phase shift moves it left and right. This one has no phase shift.
No.
0.
Next one, vertical shift.
3.
Is it positive or negative? It's a positive 3. This is positive 3. So this one, it is what it is. On that other one with the phase shift, it would be opposite. But vertical shift, it is what it is. So if it's positive 3, I just put positive 3.
Say what you want to
All right. Now, this next thing that I did, if you guys remember, this is part of my parts. It was my part times the period plus the phase shift, right? Part times the period plus the phase shift. Do I have a phase shift?
No.
No. There's no phase shift, so it's just going to be part times the period. So 0 times 2 pi over 3? 0. Next one's going to be quarter times 2 pi over 3.
1 over 6. Well, pi over 6.
Very good, pi over 6. 1/2 times 2 pi over 3.
Pi over 3.
Pi over 3. 3/4.
1 pi over 2.
Pi over 2.
So pi over 2. And it's going to be 1. 2 pi over 3. All right, this next part is my y value. Okay, when you guys started doing like the patterns, and I said, okay, make sure it is the pattern, make sure you do get it right, make sure that everything is done okay, right? And you need to make sure you're following along with this part because it's going to mess you up. So, now, let's go ahead and plug it in. So it's going to be 3 minus 2 cosine of 3 times 0. Shh, please stop. Your unit circle is helpful right now, right? Okay, unit circle is very helpful. So, 0 times 3.
0.
What is cosine at 0?
It's 1.
1.
Negative 1.
It's 1. Cosine at 0 is 1.
2.
Cosine at 0 is 1 times negative 2.
Negative 2.
Negative 2 plus 3.
Negative 5.
1.
Negative 5.
It's plus
Bless you.
So it should look like this. Okay? At 0, cosine was 1 times negative 2. It's negative 2, right? And we have plus 3 here. Positive 1. Positive 1.
Negative 1.
I said positive 1. Cosine, that's pi. That's pi. That's 0. Okay.
Follow me.
Pastor, can you do that last step over again, the 3 times? How
Okay.
How did you do it?
What is 3 times 0?
0.
What is cosine at 0?
1.
There's my 1.
Okay.
Times negative 2.
Is negative 2.
Plus 3.
Oh, okay. So the vertical shift, you add it to that once you finish.
Yes.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, this is the only thing that's changing it.
Okay.
Okay?
And then,
And you'll realize it's moving everything up 3 values.
oh, okay.
You'll see it. You'll see it when we're actually
Negative
doing the next
6
one.
down. Okay.
Okay, so the next one.
Bless you.
All right, so next one is going to be pi over 6. 3 times pi over 6. Pi over 2. What is cosine of pi over 2? 0. So it's going to be 3 minus 2 times 0. So it's going to be what?
3.
We like diamonds in the sky.
Wait, what's cosine? Oh, over 2 is 0.
Okay, let's do the next one. Next one's going to be 3 minus 2 cosine of 3 times pi over 3.
I can't see. Oh, wait, no.
1.
One, and then it's one.
Do whatever you like.
It's 5.
So, let's look. 3 times pi over 3?
1.
1 pi. So it's 1 pi. Cosine at pi,
Negative 1.
negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 2,
Positive.
positive 2. Positive 2. And now it's at positive 3.
So it's 5.
It's 5.
It's 3. No, I counted pi instead of, I did 0 pi
I did
instead of pi.
Okay. Now let's do the next one. Next one right here. Pi over 2. So it's 3 minus 2 cosine of 3 pi over 2.
Equals 3 pi over 2. And then the cosine.
3 pi over 2. Cosine of 3 pi over 2 is 0 times negative 2
3.
plus 3.
And then the next one is 1.
Dude.
Let's see. My last one is 3 minus 2 cosine of 3 times 2 pi over 3.
Cosine at 2 pi over 2.
So 3 times 2 pi over 3.
Oh.
2 pi. What's cosine at 2 pi? 1 times
Negative 2.
Dang, Samaj, seriously, what you been eating?
You're worse than me, man.
You had Chipotle?
Yeah, yesterday though.
Okay, 2 pi. So it's going to be 1 times negative 2
I thought that
it's
was
negative
Samaj
2
coming. Shut up.
plus 3.
Do we run?
It's 1.
1. The filter.
Fire Drew.
I think we have to leave.
Messed up filter.
I know. So they finally got the thing to turn on.
They're dense.
It just never works. Since they installed it, it hasn't worked.
What is that?
So that's the filter. It's vibrating. So
It just don't
So that's what I
Alright, hey, listen, we already had that joke. Come on. Let's move on. Alright, so now I have to try and graph this.
That's recording.
Yes, I am.
It's hard to focus.
I can't really do much about it.
I can't focus. We need to stop.
You couldn't focus anyway.
I've been answering all
I
these
know.
questions.
No, you didn't. All you said was pi. I'm just kidding.
Ooh, really?
Alright, so where was my start?
0.
Where's the end?
Right there. 1. Oh.
No.
No.
2 pi over 3, right?
Oh my God.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. How high does it go?
It's like 5.
2. 2. 2.
Wait, why would it go?
Oh, shit.
Does it go up to 5?
Yes.
I guess.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah,
It goes up to 5, doesn't it?
Yes.
How low does it go?
How low does it go?
Five.
I would wait to the flow.
How low?
3.
It goes to, what's the lowest thing? It's 1.
1.
The lowest is 1.
It goes to 1.
Oh, no, 1.
Look at my values.
Dude, I'm slacking.
Look at the values.
Yeah, I'm thinking
1,
it's negative.
3, 5, 3, 1. Okay.
Oh my God.
Alright, so, let me finish right here. Alright, so let me see. I have to mark my spots.
Mark.
What's this one right here? What's this first one?
Pi over
Pi
6.
over
Pi over
Pi
3.
over 3. Pi over
Pi over
2.
2. 2 pi over 3.
He already has that one.
Pi over 2.
Okay, there we go. So now, do I have everything marked for this?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so everything is marked for that. So now I need to actually go through and start putting in my values.
Mm-hmm.
So, when it is 0, what is my value?
1.
1.
Look. 0, it's 1, right?
So like that's your X and Y right here.
Yes, this is the x, and this is the y. Alright, at pi over 6,
3.
3.
Then 3, then
Each
what?
sheet.
I need
Here's my graph.
It sounded like there were two.
Okay. All right, so there's example 4. Here's what your graph's gonna look like, but listen, I asked you guys to graph it only one period, right?
Yeah.
So that was these points right here. So they got the same thing, but I didn't do it twice.
Why is it a positive 1 for negative?
Yeah.
When it was a negative?
Huh?
Oh, never mind. I was confused why.
Because they graphed it 2 periods. They actually went left and they went right.
Hey.
So normally, if you're graphing it 2 periods, I would just keep going this way. Remember, this is actually 1/4. This would be 2/4, which is reduces to 1/2, right? Next one would be 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, and 8/4. What's 8 divided by 4?
2.
2. That would be 2 of those right there. That would be 2 periods. Are we okay?
See?
All right.
This can keep people away.
I think we're done.
I think 5. I'm trying to remember.
Ew.
Yeah, 5's the last one that we're gonna do. I know there's another example, but the other example is the last. This is the last one we're gonna do.
Wait, where's 5?
The one that went this example 5.
Yeah.
Okay, listen up. So for this, what do I start with?
Amp.
Amplitude.
Let's
Do
do
amp.
2.
Yeah.
Amplicity.
2.
Period.
Um.
Now, slight issue here.
That's one of the.
Okay,
It's phase shift.
this one has a phase shift, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hit it.
Just kick it.
Kill it. Yeah. Kill it.
Bop it.
We already had this conversation. Remember?
Socket.
Suck it.
Yes, we did.
I had a result.
Stop it.
Yeah, I just did. I said suck it and it stopped.
Okay, I have to actually fix my argument. I have to fix the argument. So what do I have to do to fix the argument? Do you guys remember that from last week?
Oh, factor right.
Factor what?
Factor right. Factor eight.
Factor out the-
4.
2.
And it'll be,
Take out the 4.
and it'll be sine 4.
So it's 4 parentheses x plus pi over 4, right?
Yeah.
So it should be like that. So you have a 4 value there, right? And so what is my phase shift going to be here? That's the reason why we did this argument.
Negative opposite.
Yeah, so it's going to be negative pi over 4. So my period is going to be, since it's sine, it's going to be 2 pi equals 4x. That 4 there, right? That 4x. Divide both sides by 4.
It gets you 2 pi t r.
Nope.
Pi over 2.
Pi over 2.
It is mod. Side.
Next one is parts. Quarter. 3/4 and 1. Alright, so now for this piece right here, remember, it's going to be my part, actually, before I go too far. Phase shift, my phase shift is going to be what?
Are you gonna sit there?
They don't listen, I try to tell them.
It's a ringtone is that.
That's his.
It's not a phone call, it's an alarm.
Sauce, please.
No one wants to call you.
What?
Call me whenever you like.
So my phase shift was negative pi over 4. My vertical shift,
Is -1.
-1, right?
I tried.
Why?
Because that's the number in the very front. Duh.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that.
It can also be in the very back too. So, for this one right here, this is going to be, from here it's my part, right? Times my period, plus my phase shift. So it's going to be 0 times pi over 2, plus my phase shift. Negative.
So periods times, parts times periods times vertical.
Plus your phase shift.
So they're all adding.
So it's going to be 0
Okay.
times
Okay.
my
that's
period plus phase shift. So the next one's going to be quarter times period.
all. And we can put that in the calculator.
Yeah. Period, which is pi over 2, and minus pi over 4. Because it's plus a negative number, so I can just say minus.
Negative pi over 0.
So negative pi over 8,
Yeah.
negative pi over 8. So this is actually a positive pi over 8, and minus a pi over 4 is going to give me a negative pi over 8.
Say whatever you like.
Next one is half times pi over 2 minus pi over 4.
0.
3/4 times pi over 2 minus pi over 4.
Pi over 8.
That's pi over 8.
Positive pi over 8. 1 times pi over 2.
Pi over 4.
So it's a positive pi over 4.
Beautiful.
Okay? So we have all that. So what goes next? Now we have to try and plug it in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're plugging it in. So it's going to be -1 plus 2 sine of 4 times negative pi over 4 plus pi. So, negative pi over 4 times pi over 4. I'm sorry, negative pi over 4 times 4.
Negative pi.
Negative pi plus pi, 0. So that's going to be 0. What sign is 0?
0.
0
Minus.
times 2
That's wrong one. Times 2.
right there. So we get -1.
Is that ever going to stop?
No.
When it turns off.
Is it even?
It barely works.
Why is it on? Yeah.
What is it?
The broken AC unit that they installed. So to get it to stop doing that, they just turned it off. They're like, oh no, it's fine. We'll just turn it off. I'm like, isn't it supposed to work? Yeah, but you know what? To stop the noise, we'll just turn it off.
That's not lazy.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's probably mediocre. That's looking my mom.
I don't want no meeting.
What's your actual
All right. So this next one. This next one is 4 times negative pi over 8. You guys, please pay attention. 4 times negative pi over 8. Negative pi over 2. Negative pi over 2 plus pi.
Pi over 2.
Pi over 2. What is sine of pi over 2?
1.
So now it's going to be 1 times 2 plus -1.
Is 1.
Positive 1. Alright, I want you guys to do the same thing on yours right now, please. Do the same thing on your notes right now. You guys are plugging in for these last three. Plug in for this last three. Alright, what are we getting on this one now?
Negative, wait, negative 1.
-3.
-3, right?
Yeah.
No, you put it wrong.
That's you.
-3?
-1.
It's negative 1.
Yeah, I got -1.
-1?
No,
Next
you,
one's
inside you put
-3.
cosine.
Okay, so it should be -1, then it should be, then it should be -1, right?
I got 1 for that one.
Which one?
Pi over 8.
Pi over 8?
Yeah.
So let's see. So it's -1 plus 2 sine of 4 times pi over 8 plus pi. So it's going to be pi over 2 plus pi, that's 3 pi over 2. Sine at 3 pi over 2 is going to be 1 times 2 plus -1. So it's going to give me +1. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah. See? Right there. It is. Yeah, I know, that's what I I was like, I know you said something.
Why does this one seem...
Is it sine of pi? I know. Negative.
Oh, you're right, right. This is negative. Sorry. This is negative. You're right. Thank you. I'm like, something's wrong, right? Okay, yeah, that's a -1, -2, -3. You're right. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Had it right the first time, then question myself. So how far to the left do I go? Negative, so my start is where? Pi over 4. How far to the right? Then we have a, what do we got right here? Pi over 8, right? Negative pi over 8. Then we have 0. Then we have positive pi over 8. It goes up. 1, 2, 3. -1, -2, -3. Negative pi over 4. What was my value?
6. I'm just kidding.
-1. Negative pi over 8. +1. So 0, -1. At pi over 8. And pi over 4.
Which equals
There we go.
A Z.
That's a sine wave. Look, they did the same thing, but we started here. We went up to 1, went back down, went down to -3, here. So we only did here to here. They have 2 periods on this. I only have 1. They extended it to the left some and extended it to the right. Alright, so I don't think we don't have scatter plots on the. So for these problems right here, you're gonna see one of these on the homework. Just plug this into your calculator. That's all you have to do. The A, look, even says right here, coldest month, January x = 1, hottest month, right here. So all my values, amplitude is A. So you're just gonna plug in everything that you have here, which we had 15 was my amplitude. There is my B value there. Okay, there's my argument, and there's my vertical shift. You're gonna have one of these on the homework. That's all you have to do, just plug it in. All right. So I want to give you guys time to work on your homework. Yes.